With a flick of the wand and a twirl in the air, say the magic words with care and flair. A whisper, a wish, a rhyme to sing. Watch as toys transform to the real-life thing.
Okay, what do we want to do first? This will work. Bippity, boppity. Sweet. Nice. This will work. Bippity, boppity. Boo! Oh, hello, Lizzie. Bippity, boppity. Boo!
Amidst the doldrums of summer, sun shining down at its max, Melissa and Brian set off for adventure, merriment, and a chance to relax. From America's heartland, they set out with excitement and glee, a mere 1,500 miles between them and the beckoning sea. But the couple wasn't alone on this taxing trek to Mickey's ship. No, they were also joined by Melissa's mum, an odyssey she couldn't skip. They were escorted in Minnie Pearl, the beloved star of the road trip show. What? You don't know Minnie Pearl? Well, sit down, whippersnapper, and let me put you in the know. Mr. DJ, hit it.
It's your girl Minnie Pearl rolling down the street. She rocking Disney vibes and comfy seats. Road trip fun in a pearly white ride with magic and great mileage on the highways we glide. Honk if you love her, she's our girl. That minivan queen named Minnie Pearl. Honk, 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 honk. Blind spot warning, she keeps us safe in our lane. In those pricey new tires, we stay planted in the rain. She's ride smooth and quiet, her playlist is fire. Her AC's an icy blast so no one can perspire. The miles disappear as she eats them up, and she got like 16 places to hold your cup. So honk if you love her, she's our girl. That minivan queen named Minnie Pearl. Honk, 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 honk. Yeah, honk, 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 honk. Yeah.
Yes. Honk, honk indeed. Anyway, through 6 broad states they sped, watching drawn-out miles unroll. They ate snacks and stayed hydrated, inching ever closer to their Florida goal. But before arriving at the Space Coast, there was a quick errand to run. This task was vital, you see, in order to maximize the familial fun. A trio of cruisers wasn't enough for this crew. They needed to add one more. Luckily, up high in the sky, there was a 4th winging toward the shore. To start the trip off right, they did indeed need one other. So they stopped at the Orlando airport, picking up Brian's dear mother. Everyone say, hello, Brian's mum. 2 mamas in tow. Their party was now a foursome, a quartet ready for a nautical Disney adventure so awesome. The dawn arrived with brutal heat and humidity true. But as they glimpsed the beautiful Disney wish, they knew nothing else would do. A voyage over the vast sea to the sun-bathed paradise of the Bahamas. The only thing better than a cruise is a Disney cruise with your mamas. So they showed security their passports, each traveler's spirit fully restored. They marched down the gangway and took their first magical steps on board.
And please welcome aboard the Goose and Guillory family.
Lunch was the first priority on the ship, and there were options plentiful and free. But our heroes had an Epicurean plan in their minds and executed it to a T. Our hungry heroes ordered muffulettas from Arundel, a sandwich reminding them of Melissa's birthplace of Louisiana and its gators. It was as good as she remembered, and she came prepared with a Ziploc baggie to save one for later. A Hall of Fame first meal, each and every bite a savory epiphany, a delicious culinary overture to an epic cruise symphony. This room is accessible and thus a touch larger than the norm. You can book these rooms if your party needs it just by filling out Disney's form. You can also get lucky with the spacious room if you book a room rate called Guarantee. Basically, DCL puts you where they want you for a slightly discounted cruise fee. These cruisers were thrilled with the stateroom and its spacious possibilities. Indeed, it was grand and expansive, with so much room for activities. They decorated their door to let the hallway know where the cruising champs were chilling. They grabbed second lunch at Mickey's Smokestack Barbecue with sausage and mac and cheese, oh so savory and filling. As the afternoon wound on, electric throngs filled every inch up on deck. Mickey and the gang danced and waved. They definitely passed the vibe check. The crowd was hyped up and ready, excited to spin their own vacation tale. And finally, the moment was here. It was time to cast off and set sail. As the seconds ticked down and the ship left the shore, they teared up as ship's horn released its thunderous roar.
Here we go! 4, 3, 2, 1!
Hey there, we want to take a brief moment out of the video to tell you about today's sponsor.
That's right. We cannot make these videos without the generous financial support to do what we do.
So a big shout out to today's sponsor.
Our jobs.
And set sail they did into the Atlantic so deep and infinitely wide. And though they've been on board twice, they explored bow to stern and starboard to the port side. can't go more than 20 minutes without eating on a cruise. That much we all know. So it was off to night one's dinner in Arundel. You might remember it from that one movie with all the snow. As they sat down, a joyous reunion took place. They were paired with their favorite server from last year, George, and they were thrilled to see his jovial face. The family was parked quite far from the stage, but it wasn't that big a deal. They could still hear the songs, and Anna, Christoph, and Elsa came by to check on their meal. The food is plated beautifully with ingredients that some people might consider icky. But don't forget, your server will bend over backwards to accommodate you, including getting you the royal corn dog with mustard shaped like Mickey. Before the show, a photo to commemorate the trip. They'll help lock in the memories, so the moments their minds won't slip. And then, the first of 3 Broadway-style shows on board, this one, Seize the Adventure. They couldn't film any of the show, but trust them, it was a real thirst quencher. And finally, to Nightingale's, the Cinderella-themed piano lounge for a quick stop. The ordered water, and the bartender relented to Brian's begging to put a fancy smoke bubble right on top. The next morning was an early one, with so much to do. Brian and Melissa scampered off alone to snag a picture with Cinderella's missing shoe. But they also had another goal, one sailing in from a galaxy far, far away. In the hyperspace lounge, they played with lightsabers, while X-Wings and TIE fighters outside the window entered the galactic fray. freshly minted Jedis holstered their weapons and prepared to meet royalty. They bowed and they curtsied as they met each princess, expressing their loyalty. Not really. It's just that royalty and loyalty are such a perfect rhyme that I couldn't resist. It would be silly to pledge your loyalty to a cartoon character. Rapunzel was cheerful, hair fair and long, while Belle was graceful with a book and song. Tiana shares Melissa's Louisiana origins, while Moana asked what island and canoe the family had voyaged in. And Cinderella, the grand finale of the event. Even as adults, it's fun and whimsical, and all were content. But the crew worked up their hunger at the next task to follow, for they'd booked brunch at the fancy adult dining venue, the elegant and posh Palo. Here the food is endless and service without compare. You can order as much as you like and no one is going to make you share. The flavors were perfect, something fresh and new to adore. Just be careful you don't eat too much, or they'll have to roll you out the door. Yes, it's weird to follow fancy brunch with a laundromat tour, but the Wishes facility is huge and abundant. It deserves its props for sure. While the Bahama Mamas slipped and the laundry tumbled, Brian and Melissa decided to pixie dust some gifts. As across various fish extender bags they stumbled. Gave out ribbons for decorated doors they like. Sure, it's a shameless plug for the channel, but maybe it'll cause views to spike. They went to Luna Lounge, where in Disney Tunes trivia played on the piano. They competed. They didn't win, I'm sad to report, but their confidence was quite far from depleted. They decided to try again at trivia. This one, general knowledge in the Keg and Compass Pub. Alas, they came up one shy of the win, but I'd like to see you do any better, bub. Dinner was at 1923, an elegant dining room dedicated to the art of Disney's history and how they get the filet to be so tender and flavorful. Well, that remains a mystery. It was pirate night, mateys, so they dressed up in their best buccaneer garb. They were far from the most over-the-top cosplayers, but they still gave it their best arg. Then a bit of shopping, because Disney is the king of merch. They may have bought more than their fair share, but if it fits in the luggage, it works. After dinner and shopping, the ladies went to see live performance of The Little Mermaid, the story of Ariel. Brian went back to the room and watched it on the TV while enjoying a sneaky room service chicken tendy. Shh! Don't you dare tell! They'd seen the Wish Pirate show twice, so this one they decided to skip. But for the fireworks, they have a private viewing just forward of the front funnel of the ship. as the morning dawned, land slid into view. It was Castaway Key, with all the beachy and tropical things to do. But before going ashore, they had to stop at the Marceline Market Buffet. Because, dear viewers, it was none other than Mickey Churro Waffle Day. The family took photos and hobnobbed with friends. They swam in the sea and had fun with no end. Found a glint, a hint of something hiding buried in the sand. He knelt down and discovered treasure, glinting shiny and grand. A Disney cruise coin, wonderful and great. They knew not that soon this coin would decide their fate. They boarded the Wish for lunch, taking advantage of the pool deck yummies. They snacked on tacos and had pizzas until they filled their tummies. And then there's the Aqua Mouse, a tremendous water slide at sea. First, you plop yourself into the raft, then ride the conveyor belt degree by degree. This video doesn't make the ride look too intense, overly wet or fast, but trust me that it's plenty for Melissa and Brian, and you'll have a blast. After drying off, Brian and Melissa had the cutest feet in the house, matching shoes for the win. It was time to meet Mickey Mouse. To celebrate, but better late than never. The family popped the non-alcoholic cider, a tribute to the best cruise ever. For the final night on board, they took a trip to the Marvel Dining Hall, a superhero bonanza. It was an exciting evening for one and all. Better than they remembered as well, and it was a final chance to say goodbye to George, one of their favorite cruise personnel. The last show of the cruise was Aladdin. Classic and exciting, it was the perfect way to say goodbye to the Wish, so welcoming and inviting. Before they went to bed, the fabled kiss goodnight. As the bell tolled midnight, even the sad, homebound cruisers knew all would be right.
Wave.
Our bands are lighting up.
Oh my goodness. It's midnight.
Ooh, travel agent Leslie says if we drive to Fort Lauderdale, we could get on 5 nights on the Dream. What do you think?
That sounds expensive.
I can rearrange my flights.
Ooh, that sounds good.
They were at a loss to know if they should go home or power onto the next Disney ship. And with no other ideas, they left their destination up to the Castaway Coin's deciding flip. If on tails it lands, they would drive home. But if it lands on heads, on another ship, they would roam.